Welcome back, everyone. Look who's back. I think I say that a lot, don't I? Look
You
who's
do.
back. I
You
do.
do.
Well, that's because we're so excited every time you come back.
It's a lot of fun being here.
It's Dr. Paul, as you well know. And, well, we got to start today because when you were here last, you were on your way to Southern Cal, to San Diego.
You're surprised I came back.
Big convention.
You're like,
yeah, no, most people
What are you
don't
doing?
come back.
They don't, and I can see why, as you know as well.
So big deal. A big convention, 15,000 people for Isagenix, called Celebration, really kind of the international gathering, right?
It was the international gathering. I mean, people, Jesse, it was very, very obviously international, but just a great environment, great atmosphere. I mean, ton of energy. So it was a complete thrill for me to be up there on stage in front of the crowd. It was awesome.
I bet. Now, I want to ask Paul about what you spoke about, all right? Because you're an expert, and they flew you all the way out there to do that. Cha-ching. And, but the thing is I happened to see the videotape of when they introduced him, and there was, as usual with these conventions, there was a big soundtrack thing going on. Yeah. Guess who became a dancing fool for about 5 to 7 minutes?
I'd love to demonstrate, but I don't think we have enough time for it.
No,
it was great. So
let's just say the arms were flying.
The arms were flying, the hips were swinging.
When we were done with that, what did you talk about?
So the primary role that I had was to legitimize and validate the science behind health and human physical performance through nutrition. Mm-hmm. So, and that's a really valuable, I think, for anybody. You know, we talk about lifestyle interventions to help people reduce their risk for disease, but then also enhance their ability to perform in just whatever they do. And my role was to really identify and target this healthy lifestyle solution of nutritional intervention in disease prevention, health promotion, and then physical performance.
Well, you know, having you there, such a credible representative for this line. I mean, we've known each other better part 2 years now. Yeah. You changed my diet, you know, and
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah,
you weren't that bad, though. I mean, you were starting off at a...
I started off, I think, okay.
You had incremental changes.
Yeah, that's correct. But, you know, the information you have is so valuable. Look, we're about ready to head into a new school year. That affects kids and parents and teachers and coaches and administrators.
You nailed it.
It affects a lot of people, right? Overall, what guidelines should these people follow?
Well, you know, it all starts with the big three. 1, 2, 3. You know, proper sleep. Mm-hmm. You know, making sure people are achieving that level of sleep that they need, because that's crucial. Making sure that they're getting that exercise that they need, right? I mean, staying physically active, and it's so hard because you're caught up in the stress of the schedule planning. You know, getting rides to and from school and after school pickup, you know, meals for the kids and your own schedule, social things. But if we can focus on the sleep, the physical activity, and then the big one that I'd like to focus on today is the nourishment. Right. That's what we need to focus on. And so it all begins with how we nourish our body. And guess what? It all begins first thing in the morning. Mm-hmm. You know, unfortunately, Jesse, breakfast has been thrown under the bus lately. There have been 2 articles that have come out, one in the New York Times and the other one in the Washington Post, that have questioned the health benefits, not just in physical health, but also in cognitive academic performance of eating breakfast in adolescents and teenagers and even adults being able to perform. And what's been put into question is eating breakfast healthier than skipping breakfast? And guess what? Those articles in the New York Times and Washington Post have said that the breakfast skippers have actually performed slightly better than the breakfast eaters.
Well, you know, what needs to be said here is, what's the criteria? What are they eating? A bowl of Frosted Flakes? You know, sugar to the max? Well, I got news for you. You could skip that, right?
Exactly. So the characteristics of the breakfast have to be considered.
Right.
And so up until this point, they have been the traditional sugar-laden breakfasts of high, simple sugared cereals and breads and muffins and things like that, tarts, and then juice. And they've compared it to breakfast skippers. Well, of course the breakfast skippers will do better. So it all comes down to what you're doing. So fortunately, within the last, I'd say, 4 to 6 months, some really high quality research has come out that has directly put into question this comparison. And they've thrown in a third group into this whole equation. And that's a group that's eating a high quality, nutritious, plant and animal based protein breakfast with fiber compared to the other two. And without question across the board, that group has outperformed in every single respect. So the bottom line take home, I call the take to school message, is that you need to start the day with a high protein, 20 to 35 gram serving, and then a high fiber, 5 to 10 grams of fiber breakfast. And that is going to be your solution.
Well, you know, I know you get involved in all kinds of research studies, but I have to just tell you from a personal point of view. I asked Dr. Paul, well, you know, what should I eat for breakfast? My age into consideration, my lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. And I've gone to that yogurt base, adding fresh fruit every morning to a high brand cereal with no sugar in it, and I add nuts and cranberries and things like that. And I can tell you, it really makes a difference.
Total difference.
Yeah.
What you just described was a classic example of a completely well-rounded, nourishing start to the day,
Right.
in every respect. And so, yeah, you've nailed it, and that's the message that has to be sent. You know, there is a difference between eating breakfast and skipping, and the breakfast eaters do much better, but the characteristics and the quality of that breakfast have to be considered.
Hey, you know what? You talk a lot about caloric intake.
Yeah.
And I heard something once, I just want you to verify it or tell me if it's wrong. That, you know, a lot of people think, oh, you know, let's have this big, massive dinner, you know. Your body can't burn off the calories because you go to sleep. So isn't it true that to have a really strong nutritional breakfast, regardless if you're a student, a teacher, administrator, coach, whatever, eat a good solid lunch and eat a little lighter at dinner?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Absolutely. And so I refer to it as, and this is an old adage that was said, you know, breakfast like a king or queen, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper.
I don't have a choice. I'm
So-
doing pretty well on the pauper front all the way
Pauper.
around. Yeah.
But that's essentially, you want to do what's called front loading. It's
Yes,
called, another
okay.
word for it is front loading. But yeah, your nourishment should begin at the beginning of the day. Yes, I mean, it makes intuitive sense. If you want to be active and dynamic and full of vitality throughout the day, that beginning part of your day has to be based upon the right pillars of healthy nourishment. And that's high quality protein, lots of good fiber, and then throw in the fruits and vegetables of those sources that we've already talked about. And then as the day goes on, you know, begin to cut back a little bit. You don't need as much. Now, if you're exercising and remaining really active during the later part of the day, I do suggest that yes, your dinner meal should be somewhat on the lighter fare side, but you do have to make sure that you're getting in that high quality protein so that your body can rebuild and regenerate overnight. Because it's overnight that we restore and rejuvenate and replenish our depleted stores. So it's not that you want to over consume at night, but you definitely want to make sure that you're taking in the proper nutrients. So I have some exciting, you know, new stuff to share with everyone in the coming weeks with my mobile app that addresses
Great.
just this. And so that'll be exciting to share with everyone.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, it's great to have you back again.
Oh, it's always fun.
Summer is now behind us. We don't want to say that out loud because
Oh.
maybe the gods will hear it and not give us great weather.
Yeah.
But we're moving into a different time of year, and we luck out because we get Dr. Paul back. So
Excellent.
thanks very much. I'm glad you had such success in Southern Cal.
Thanks.
That's fantastic.
It was
you
fun
earned
and all.
that, Paul. You really
Thank you.
did. And welcome back.
Good to be here.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.